Good day, everyone. This video is about Chapter 9 review and assessment found in textbook pages 267 to 271. For our objectives, we're going to summarize and explain the main points of the lesson, solve the assessment questions that are given under each lesson. So let's summarize first Lesson 1, which is the overview of cellular respiration. So chemical energy is stored in food molecules. Energy is released when chemical bonds in the food molecules are broken. Energy is measured in a unit called a calorie, the amount of energy needed to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water by 1 degree Celsius. Fats store more energy per gram than do carbohydrates and proteins. Cellular respiration is a process that releases energy from food in the presence of oxygen. There are 3 steps. Cellular respiration captures the energy from food in 3 major stages: glycolysis, the Krebs cycle, and the electron transport chain. Glycolysis does not require oxygen. The Krebs cycle and electron transport chain both require oxygen. Aerobic pathways are processes that require oxygen, while anaerobic pathways are processes that occur without oxygen. Comparing photosynthesis and cellular respiration, the energy in photosynthesis and cellular respiration flows in opposite directions. Their equations are the reverse of each other. Photosynthesis removes carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, and cellular respiration puts it back. Photosynthesis releases oxygen into the atmosphere, and cellular respiration uses oxygen to release energy from food. So let us now summarize Lesson 2, which is the process of cellular respiration. In glycolysis, the word glycolysis literally means sugar breaking. The end result is 2 molecules of a 3-carbon molecule called pyruvic acid. 2 ATP molecules are used at the start of glycolysis to get the process started. High-energy electrons are passed to the electron carrier, NAD, forming 2 molecules of NADH or NADH. 4 ATP are synthesized during glycolysis for a net gain of 2 ATP. In the Krebs cycle, the second stage of cellular respiration is a Krebs cycle, which operates only when oxygen is available. The Krebs cycle is a series of energy-extracting reactions. Pyruvic acid produced by glycolysis enters mitochondria. In the innermost compartment of the mitochondrion, or the matrix, pyruvic acid molecules are broken down into carbon dioxide and acetyl-CoA molecules. Acetyl-CoA combines with the carbon compound, producing a 6-carbon molecule, citric acid. Energy released by the breaking and rearranging of carbon bonds is captured in ATP, NADH, and FADH2. The Krebs cycle produces 4 types of products: high-energy electron carriers, or the NADH and FADH, carbon dioxide, 2 ATP molecules per glucose molecule, and the 4-carbon molecule needed to start the cycle again. In electron transport and ATP synthesis, the electron transport chain uses the high-energy electrons from glycolysis and the Krebs cycle to convert ADP into ATP. The electron carriers produced during glycolysis and the Krebs cycle bring high-energy electrons to the electron transport chain. Oxygen is the final electron acceptor. The passing of electrons through the electron transport chain causes hydrogen ions to build up in the intermembrane space, making it positively charged relative to the matrix. The charge difference across the membrane forces hydrogen ions to channels in enzymes known as ATP synthases. As the ATP synthases spin, a phosphate group is added to ADP, generating ATP. Together, glycolysis, the Krebs cycle, and the electron transport chain generate about 36 molecules of the ATP per molecule of glucose. Now let's have the summary of lesson 3, which is on fermentation. Fermentation releases energy from food molecules by producing ATP without oxygen. Cells convert NADH to the electron carrier, NAD+. This allows glycolysis to produce a steady stream of ATP. There are two forms of fermentation. Both start with the reactants pyruvic acid and NADH. Alcoholic fermentation produces ethyl alcohol and carbon dioxide. It occurs in yeast and a few other microorganisms, produces alcoholic beverages, and causes bread dough to rise. In lactic acid fermentation, it produces lactic acid. It occurs in most organisms, including humans, and used to produce beverages such as buttermilk and foods such as cheese, yogurt, and pickles. The body uses different pathways to release energy. For short, quick bursts of energy, the body uses ATP already in muscles, as well as ATP made by lactic acid fermentation. For exercise longer than about 90 seconds, cellular respiration is the only way to continue generating supply of ATP. So let's have now some lesson check questions in lesson 1, which is found on page 268. Let's have number 6 question. What is a calorie? A calorie is the amount of energy needed to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water by 1 degree Celsius. Number 7 question in page 268. Write a chemical equation for cellular respiration and label the molecules involved. The answer is given below. We have 6 oxygen or 6O2 plus C6H12O6, which is glucose. It yields, and the process yields 6 carbon dioxide, which is 6 CO2, and 6 water molecules plus the energy. Number 8 question in page 268. What percentage of the energy contained in a molecule of glucose is captured in the bonds of ATP at the end of glycolysis? The answer is about 10%. Number 9 question in page 268. What does it mean if a process is anaerobic? Which part of cellular respiration is anaerobic? The answer is a process is anaerobic if it does not directly require oxygen. And glycolysis is the one which has anaerobic pathway in the cellular respiration. Number 15 question. How is glucose changed during glycolysis? The answer is, during glycolysis, one molecule of glucose is transformed into two molecules of pyruvic acid. Now, number 16 question. What is NOD plus and why is it important? The answer is, NAD plus is an electron carrier. It provides high energy electrons needed to produce ATP. Number 18 question. How is ATP synthase involved in making energy available to the cell? The answer is, hydrogen ions pass across the mitochondrial membrane through ATP synthase causes the base of the ATP synthase to spin, which or with each rotation, the enzyme grabs an ADP molecule and attaches a phosphate producing ATP. Now for chapter 9, lesson 3, the fermentation lesson check questions, found in page 269. Number 26 question, how are fermentation and cellular respiration similar? The answer is, both processes begin with glycolysis and produce ATP. Last question, number 27. Write equations to show how lactic acid fermentation compares with alcoholic fermentation, and which reactants or reactant do they have in common? So in alcoholic fermentation, pyruvic acid plus NADH will yield alcohol plus carbon dioxide plus NAD or NAD plus. While in lactic fermentation, pyruvic acid plus NADH will yield lactic acid plus NAD. The common reactants are pyruvic acid and NADH. Thank you for watching. This is the end of the video. May you have a good day.